Welcome to the Engineering and Public Works Roadshow, a joint effort by the American Council of Engineering Companies, American Public Works Association, and the American Society of Civil Engineers, coming to you from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where we are celebrating the Great Trail State at the Great Trail State Conference, the first of its kind, the inaugural. And I'm joined by Iona Thomas. She is both with McAdams and she is also ACEC North Carolina president, and I'm and also co-chair of the Great Trails Coalition.
Yeah.
So this is like you're saying, worlds colliding.
All my worlds have come together to be right in this moment. Yeah.
Well, I mean, looking at the amount of people who are here today and will be here tomorrow for this conference, it's a great success. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. What does it mean to you and for our audience out there? Talk a bit about the coalition and how you got involved and what you hope this will grow into.
Well, the Great Trail State Coalition is 110 members across nonprofits, local jurisdictions, and industry partners. And that coalition has come together to make North Carolina the Great Trail State, which means that you're never very far from a great trail experience here in North Carolina. But what we need with that are the sustainable funding and the policies that go along with making that happen. And our engineering profession is an incredibly important part of achieving that goal, because we're the ones that take the concept, the fat line on the map, and turn it into trails that are going to last forever and pedestrian bridges, and providing these great careers for engineers and planners and landscape architects that work in our firms, so that they have real purpose and they can have these projects that they can take out in their families and say, this is what I do for a living. I design these things that change communities, that are helping people be healthier, helping protect our environment, helping people get to work, get to transit. And that's what we need in our workforce development, is that purpose. People who can connect the why with the paycheck, and that's what our profession does.
That's what we've been hearing throughout the interviews that we've held. It's been this community impact, really focus on community impact, the fact that the projects that we're talking about are going to have generational impact, really. I mean, you're talking about connecting communities, disadvantaged communities, opening up opportunities for economic investment, areas where industrial use being rehabilitated back into usable space. So these are projects that they might be small projects in size, but they have such a large impact on community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we see incredible economic development happening with these projects, both in our urban and our rural communities. In our rural communities, some of these projects are popping up breweries and provision companies, and it's enabling people to stay and live in their communities, families, generations of families who previously would have to lose their kids to go to where they can find work. Now they can start their own businesses around a trail-oriented business, and we get these stories over and over and over again throughout the state. And it's because of this facility that we engineers design, and we get it in the ground, and then all this amazing stuff happens around it.
Yeah, it's exactly. And we thank you for welcoming the Roadshow in, because these are the kind of things that we want to spotlight. It's that essentiality of engineering and public works. It's the design that goes into it, but then it's also the responsibility of the municipalities or the client, the owner, of upkeep and making it accessible. And it is that a couple of stories of just areas that have been so seasonal. People come in, tourists come in, but then for off season, the economy is not there. To your point of these companies coming in, being able to start small businesses and turning these areas into year-round engines for economic development. It's significant for a state, because it really transforms really just everything about the state.
Yeah. It also, when we're talking about attracting big employers and competing like for mega sites and manufacturing sites, those employers, they want to know that their workers are going to have these quality of life things. So it makes us more competitive when we're going up against South Carolina or Virginia for an automotive plant. Like we just won the big mega site outside of the Triad where we are now, well, here in the Triad, for Toyota. And Toyota was really interested in a lot of these quality of life amenities, and it gives North Carolina a competitive edge to have trails on the ground and to have even plans for trails, and to show the level of investment that we get from the state, the commitment from the state. It tells these employers this is something that's sustainable, that's going to be here.
Absolutely. Putting your engineer hat back on, we'll talk about one of those projects. It's the Durham Rail Trail.
Yes.
And it's one that's under construction now, right? It's supposed to be completed 2025?
We're finishing up design on it. And so this project is an abandoned rail corridor that used to serve the tobacco factories in downtown Durham. So it has a real long history and a deep connection to the city, but it has been this kind of fallow corridor, overgrown, not doing anything for the city. And so the city applied for a raise grant, a federal raise grant for construction. McAdams was very proud to do that raise grant for them and help win that raise grant for them. So that raise grant is for the construction, and then we're wrapping up the design right now. So it is going to be a really amazing project because the city has put additional funding towards the project to make it a real destination. So, you know, inspired by like the High Line and the Miami Underline, it's going to be that level of project where it's a true destination. When you go to visit Durham, before you go to dinner, you're going to go take a walk on the rail trail.
It's a great example of existing infrastructure being revitalized and reused. I mean, we have so many rail lines that have gone into disuse in areas of the country that have been, you know, rail economies, and the railroad goes away and then the economy goes away, and then you have these already set lines which can be turned into trails.
It's a resource.
It's a resource, and it is really looking at turning something that was post-industrial into something back, return it to nature, and attract people in. So it's about 1.676 miles of trail that will be designed there. I mean, from an engineering standpoint, and just as yourself, I mean, what does it mean to you to be able to be part of a project like that that gives back to the community?
Well, I'm a Durham resident.
So there you go.
So it's a hometown project. So I love Durham, and it's a project that is going to really shape our future. And so it's just incredible to be able to design the kind of project you love in a city that you love, and then to be able to have the commitment and the investment from the city to take it to the next level, to make it special. It really is a once in a lifetime kind of project. Looking around here, I mean, you have a great mix of people. You've got the land developers, you've got the engineers, you've got the city and municipal officials, you've got state government. It's a great opportunity to bring all these disparate pieces together and realize what it takes to actually get things done. How do you see North Carolina? I mean, I'm always, as I mentioned in one of the previous interviews, I'm always driving down North Carolina on 95, and I always look and say the medians are so beautiful. I was driving around Winston Salem yesterday and realizing on the side of the road you have like the wooden fences that are, the state takes time to care about what people see and experience. How can North Carolina be a leader to other states to really take advantage of this and do something good? Well, North Carolina, is known as the Good Roads state. So the Good Roads movement led North Carolina to take responsibility for almost all of the roads. So North Carolina maintains 80,000 miles of road, which is second only to Texas in the country in terms of the number of miles that are maintained. So NCDOT is able to make sure that the quality of our roads is, when you come into North Carolina, when you cross the state line because of the quality of our roads. We also have an environmental, roadside environmental unit that does the work that you see that makes our corridors beautiful. So it really is NCDOT that is, just they've got an insane mission in terms of the scale of what they have to maintain, improve. And so I think in terms of I don't want to get into transportation funding policy because we'd be here a long time.
I know.
But we do need to get here in North Carolina to a place where we have sustainable transportation funding.
Absolutely.
As things transform away from just a simple gas tax model. So ACEC here in North Carolina is trying to work with the department to support that exploration of what is the right tax and funding mechanism for sustainable transportation so that we can continue to be the good road state and be that model for other states.
And that is the challenge. I mean, looking at what comes after IIJA, looking at really, the question is, what's the next step? Because the current gas tax model is something which hasn't been really touched, indexed, or at the federal level since the Clinton administration. We have more electric cars driving on the roads. We have different modes of transportation. It's going to take the states to be very innovative to help inform federal policy.
Well, I'll give you my opinion. This is just my opinion.
That's
this
fine.
is not ACEC's
The disclaimer's
opinion.
out there. This
is not McAdams' opinion. But in my opinion, we need a toolbox approach. And I do think the gas tax is very important because freight is what takes the biggest toll on our roads. And the easiest way for us to tax the freight moving through our state is through the gas tax. There are other mechanisms. Freight has a huge lobby, so that's why I'm off the record. But I think that it is, getting the gas tax right. It's using, some vehicle miles traveled model. Are there other use taxes? Toll roads, so it is not a silver bullet that is going to fix all of our problems. So we need to look at what is the right mix and the right tools for each state and get all those levers right so that we can get sustainable funding.
But the important thing is
the gas tax should be in play.
Absolutely, because it is, even Matt Reifer on our team will slap my wrist and say the user fee, because that's what it is, right? You pay into it to get out the investments you have to improve the infrastructure, and that's the thing. It's one of those unique aspects of government that where a taxpayer pays in and they see a tangible result coming out of it. So to your point, it's a question of creating that toolbox that works.
Right.
And we look forward to North Carolina and see how that's going to hopefully bubble up into Congress as we look past IIJA. I got to congratulate you on a great conference. It's been fantastic.
Thank you.
And hopefully it's the first of many. It's going to be an annual thing. You had an awards program earlier today. I mean, it's really taken off.
Well, we have some thanks for ACEC National. So ACEC National, through ACEC North Carolina, in a partnership with the Great Trail State Coalition, we applied for the Minuteman Grant, which funds legislative activities in each state, and we were awarded that grant. And so ACEC National has a big role to play in the fact that we were able to win our first statewide trail grant program, which is a $25 million program, the Great Trail State program, first of its kind, that can be used to leverage federal funds. We would not have been able to do that without ACEC.
Well, that's why we're here.
We're incredibly grateful. We'll be applying again because we
fine.
have more work to do to make that recurring
that's
funding.
Why that grant program's there. I mean, that's the strength, I think, of the Federation is national and the states working together. And hopefully that can be a signal to other states out there to say, hey, if North Carolina did it, we can do something similar here.
And you can do it, it's not just for transportation.
Absolutely.
This is transportation adjacent, but it really is touching a whole level of engineers that are working on projects that I don't think we had, here in North Carolina, we hadn't done a great job of reaching deep into this community, and we've really transformed that, and you guys have been part of it coming down to see us.
Well, it's great to be able to put a spotlight on it, and I really, really appreciate your time, especially as today, busy day, you're running around. So thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it so much.
Great. So Iona Thomas, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
This again has been the Engineering and Public Works Roadshow from ACEC, APWA, and ASCE from the Great Trail State Conference in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We'll see you next time.